Welcome back to my channel Duct Tape Mechanic and to another episode of my series Free on Facebook, which is a series of videos in which I find things for free, mostly off of Facebook Marketplace, and I show you how to repair them, repurpose them, or reuse them in another manner. In this video, I'm going to share with you the top 4 reasons why a Samsung top-load washing machine may not be draining. So if you find this video to be helpful, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more DIY and tinkering videos. Alright, so here's the washing machine in question. This video is going to be pretty much applicable to any sort of Samsung top-load washing machine. So this one in particular is this model number. I believe I looked it up online, and still retails for like $700. So these things are expensive, but as you could see, the problem is that it's not draining the water. So it's got a whole bunch of water in it. This is from when I put it into test mode to figure it out, but you do not need to do that to figure out that, hey, there's water in there. I just did that because when I got it, the guy had already drained out the water. So now I am stuck with the unfortunate situation of where I got to figure out how to drain this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on my dolly and I take it out. My garage is just kind of tip it on its side and let the water come out. If you're in your house, it's going to be a little bit more of a difficult situation. You may have to manually drain it to a point. Then after that, kind of undo a hose from the bottom, which I can show you later. But it can get a little bit messy. So let's drain out the water, then I'm going to show you how to solve this drain issue. Alright, so that's my way of draining the water out of the tub. I know this is not going to be applicable to everybody, but this is how I do it. There's also a little 12-volt pump that Harbor Freight sells that you could just stick in the tub and pump out into a bucket or something. But anyways, once you get the water out, I'm going to jump to the top 4 reasons why your Samsung top-load washing machine may not be draining. First one, we're going to have to go to the back of the washer. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to flip this thing around. To get access to the drain hose, we're going to remove this back panel right here. That'll really open up things. There's just 4 screws. So with that back panel removed, we could come inside here and see that the drain hose right there is connected to the drain pump via this clip right there. And we're just gonna get our needle nose pliers, squeeze those 2 pieces together and pull off this drain hose. And sometimes it's just as simple as a clogged drain hose that could cause your machine to start backing up the water. And I've picked up many machines that have had this sort of similar issue, so don't rule it out. Alright, so with the clip removed and the drain hose pulled off the pump, we can take it out fully by taking off this screw right here. And they're just kind of pulling this up and out of there. Now we can inspect this for any sort of clog and see if there's anything else going on, but this looks like it's good, so we can eliminate that and move on to the second reason. Alright, so the second reason it may be clogged is that there's a clog at the inlet of the tub, and oftentimes like soxes and whatnot can get stuck here. So to best access that, we're going to take off this funny little Samsung clamp right here and pull off this inlet hose, and then we're going to tip the washer on its back and take a look at this inlet port. So I'll kind of show you what that looks like. Alright, so I've got that hose now taken off the inlet of the tub. And so we're going to go ahead and put this washing machine on its back and inspect the inlet. And I would say that the inlet being clogged is probably more likely of a cause than the earlier hose, the main drain hose, to be clogged, because in order for that to be clogged, it's got to pass through the pump. So this is much more likely. All right, so here's that hose we just pulled off there, and we can inspect the inlet. In our case, the inlet is indeed clear and free of any sort of debris there, so that's good. So that eliminates that being the issue. So we'll move on to number 3, or the third reason. That's the bad drain pump. So the third reason your Samsung washing machine is not draining is due to the drain pump. Now, this could be the drain pump itself is clogged, or it's electrically fried or shorted, or the number 3 reason is that it's mechanically burnt out. So in order to test for a clog or to check for a clog, I would just undo this inlet hose right there, just like squeeze it, and I think just pull it back like so, and then you can kind of stick your finger down there and see if there's a clog. Looks like it's good there, and looks like the hose itself is also clear. So that's how you would check the inlet for a clog. The outlet is less likely to be clogged, but you can also check this as a little check valve. You can take this off and check the outlet for a clog as well. So if it's not clogged, what we can do is test it electrically. To test this electrically, we're going to be measuring the resistance of the drain pump. In this particular case, you may have noticed it earlier in the video, but this drain pump is not plugged in. So it looks like it broke from the connector. So when I went into the diagnostic history of this machine to read off the error codes, one of the issues was an unbalanced code. So I think the person or the machine bounced around and broke this, and the person went ahead and replaced the suspension rods, but they still didn't work after that. So the main reason is because this is not even connected. I've already kind of made a temporary, what I did earlier was I just stuck this into the connector and electrical taped it, and I ran a cycle, and it worked perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have to splice this yellow wire to the yellow wire and the black to the black and repair that way. And so the next person will just have to cut it and do the same thing. And if they want to change the drain pump, because it looks like it's just these are crimped into the connector and they just broke off. So that's the only real way to do it, is to cut it, splice it with some solder, and then shrink with some heat shrink tubing as well. But yours will not look like this, most likely. So what you can do is unplug it from the connector up here. So unplug right here. Let's pretend that was unplugged it from the connector, and then measure the resistance. All right, so to test the pump electrically for any sort of short or if it's burned up, is to put your multimeter into resistance mode. I got it here in this auto resistance ranging, so I don't have to figure out what's going on. But yeah, so I'm gonna put this over here. I'm gonna try to do this. So I think I can move this camera back a little bit, and we should be able to see what the meter is reading. All right, so we're gonna get our probes, then we're gonna get our drain pump. Yours will have a plug and not look like that. Then just put this to that there, and that's so. And wait for your reading. I'm getting a reading of 14.4. That is in ohms. So 14.4 ohms. So if you have a pump and it's reading anywhere between 11 to 18, your pump's not burned up, it's not shorted, so it's okay in terms of at least electrically okay. Now if you do this and you get an OL, that means your pump is burned up and you got to replace it. So this is just testing the resistance of the windings of your pump. So it should be roughly in that range. The main thing would be concerning would be if you got an OL here, or if you got a resistance value that was really high, like order of magnitude higher, like in the kilo ohms or something like that. All right. So that's how you electrically test the pump. Now you may be wondering, how do I test it for mechanical failure? Well, there's no real good way to test it for mechanical failure other than if you noticed that it was making strange noises while it was draining earlier, or if it was really loud while it was draining, then I would say it's definitely safe to assume that your pump mechanically failed. The only other way is if we move to the fourth reason, which is a control board failure. So if we can eliminate the control board failure, or if we can eliminate the control board, and then we can just say through the process of elimination that the drain pump has mechanically failed. So the best way, or a way, to test the control board is you can put your washer into the spin and rinse cycle, and then put your multimeter into AC voltage and see if you have 120 volts coming out of this plug, i.e. turning on the drain. So if your control board is sending down 120 volts down to the drain pump, it's doing its job, so then you can say that the drain pump has mechanically failed. So the third and the fourth reason for your washing machine not to drain are kind of intertwined with each other. So for me, in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and make this repair. Then I'm gonna put everything back together and see if that does the trick. So before I carry out that repair, I just want to show you how to replace the drain pump, just in case if you do come to find that it is the pump that's bad. All you need to do is obviously unplug it from the connector up there, and then remove this bolt right there, and then there's another bolt also back here, right there. So just those two bolts, and that pump should come out nicely. All right, so I made the repair. First I soldered the wires together, then I did some heat shrink tubing over it, then I individually did some electrical tape over it, then I did some electrical taping of the two wires together. So I know it's a little bit overkill, but I would rather do that than be sorry. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a test load and see if it drains and if it operates like how it should. Alright, so I've just thrown some duct tape delicates in there, a little stuffed animal in there as well. That's why she's here, making sure I don't mess anything up. Yeah, so we'll see how it works, and I'll come back a little bit later in the cycle, see if it's draining and washing correctly. Alright, as evidenced by the water coming out of my little test pipe over here, the washing machine is draining perfectly. So I'm going to come back over here and examine it. There we go. It's advanced to the rinse cycle, so washing and draining just as it should. So if you found this video to be helpful, make sure you hit the thumbs up sign, and stay tuned for more DIY and tinkering videos.